the meeting. If everyone's ready and can hear well enough, my computer likewise is acting up this afternoon, so was not able to get on with the Chromebook, so I'm joining you by telephone. This is Wayne Austin, Chairman of the Town of Abingdon, Virginia Planning Commission. And I'd like to welcome everyone to the August 24th, 2020 meeting of the Planning Commission. In particular, I'd like to welcome, and again, not being able to see faces, I assume that our two new members, Mr. Weaver and Mr. Pennington, are on tonight, and I'd like to welcome them to the Planning Commission. Look forward to working with them in the years to come in regards to matters coming before the Planning Commission. Having said that, I'll ask Mr. Boswell to do a roll call, if you would, please.
Thank you, Mr. Austin. Mr. Pennington?
Present.
Mr. Weaver?
Here.
Mr. Anderson?
Present.
Mr. Sproles?
Here.
Mr. Wilson is absent. Mr. Schuman obviously is having difficulties with his computer, and Mr. Austin.
I'm present.
We have a quorum, Mr. Chairman.
All right, thank you, Mr. Boswell. If anyone has difficulty in hearing tonight, please let us know. The next matter on our agenda tonight is the approval of the July 27, 2020 minutes. A copy of those, I believe, have been furnished to the members of the Planning Commission. Are there any changes or modifications? I'd be pleased to entertain a motion to accept those as presented.
I'll make a motion that we accept the minutes.
All right, Mr. Sproles, thank you. A second to that motion. Mr. Anderson, I believe you were the only other member that we have tonight that was present at that meeting. Is that correct?
Mr. Austin, give me 1 second. He's having issues with his microphone.
Okay.
I've lost it, man. It just left. See what come up.
Back. Okay, you're not unmuted.
No.
Can you hear me, Mr. Austin?
Yes, we can hear you.
I'll second.
All right, thank you, Mr. Anderson. Is there any additional discussion regarding the motion that's been made? If not, all in favor of the motion say aye.
Aye.
And opposed? Is there anyone that would like to abstain from voting on it since they were not present at that meeting?
Yes, Michael Weaver.
Yes, Mr. Weaver. Mr. Pennington, are you likewise abstaining?
Likewise abstain, yes, sir.
Thank you. Please let the minutes reflect that those two new members who were not present at the July 27th meeting have abstained. Mr. Boswell, is there anyone present for public comment time?
No, sir. There's no one signed up for public comment.
All right, thank you very much. We'll move on to the next item on the agenda, which is public hearing. This is a public hearing on the first being on the proposed zoning text amendment to Article 9, Office and Institutional District, Section 9-2, Special Uses, to allow two-family and multi-family dwellings as a special use. This is a public hearing on that particular issue, and if there are any members of the public that would care to address the Planning Commission, now would be the appropriate time to do that.
Mr. Chairman, this is Kenny Schuman. I'm joining you by phone. I'm not sure how I did it, but I'm here.
Well, very good. I likewise by telephone, Mr. Schuman, so we're operating under at least that same common deficiency here. So, all right, is there anyone to address the Planning Commission from the public in the public hearing for purposes of the zoning text amendment just described? All right, I understand there's no one present and no one has is here to address the Planning Commission on that, so I will declare that the public hearing in regards to that is closed, and I will open the floor to members of the Planning Commission for a general discussion in regards to it. For the benefit of our two new members, this is an issue that we have discussed at least two other Planning Commission meetings. We've also had some input from members of the public in regards to it. Does the Planning Commission or do any of the members have anything they'd like to bring to our attention in regards? If not, I'd be pleased to entertain any motions regarding the same. Are there any motions regarding the proposed zoning text amendment?
This is Kenny. I would move that we accept it as presented.
Thank you, Mr. Schuman. Is there a second to that motion?
I'll second.
Thank you, Mr. Anderson. Any additional discussion from the Planning Commission? If not, Mr. Boswell, if you would do a roll call for approval of this motion, please. Mr. Boswell? We're not able to hear you, sir. Mr. Boswell?
He's having difficulty on his
All right,
microphone.
thank you, Mr. Anderson.
He should be with you in a second.
Thank you, sir.
Can you hear me now, Mr. Austin?
Yes, sir, I can. Thank you very much. We have a motion that was made by Mr. Schuman to approve the proposed zoning text amendment to office and institutional district, and that was seconded by Mr. Anderson. There was no further discussion, and I had called for the vote on that. If you do that by roll call, please.
Yes, sir. Mr. Pennington?
On previous discussion and understanding, I will agree with that motion.
Thank you, sir. Mr. Weaver?
Aye.
Mr. Anderson?
Aye.
Mr. Sproles?
Aye.
Mr. Wilson?
Mr. Wilson is absent.
He's just logged in, Mr. Austin. I think his microphone's on mute.
Hello.
Mr. Wilson, the motion is to approve the amendment for O and I.
Yeah, aye.
Thank you, sir. Mr. Schuman? Thank you, sir. Mr. Austin?
Aye. All right, so that was approved unanimously, please.
I don't know.
Next, we have a public hearing on the agenda for proposed zoning text amendment to Article 10, B1 Limited Business District, Section 10-2, Special Uses, Article 11, B2 General Business District, Section 11-2, Central Business District, Section 12-2, Special Uses to allow short-term rentals as a special use. I'd like to declare that the public hearing is open. Is there any discussion from the public in regards to this matter? Hearing none and understanding that no one is present to do that, I will declare the public hearing now closed, and I would be pleased to entertain either any discussion or motions by the Planning Commission members in regards to this matter.
This is Kenny. I have a question for Jason. The definition of short-term rental takes care of the problem that we are trying to address. Is that correct? It looks like it from my reading.
Yes, sir, Mr. Schuman, that's correct. I think when we had discussion, we decided that we were going to use the state code definition for short-term rental, and that should satisfy what we're trying to accomplish.
All right, any additional discussion? Are there any motions in regards to this matter? Or, excuse me, I think I've declared the public hearing is closed.
Yeah.
So if there are any motions, we can entertain those at this time.
I'll make a motion that we accept the amendment on Articles 10-B-1 and sections and Article 11-B-2.
All right, thank you, Mr. Anderson. Is there a second to his motion?
Yeah, I'll second that.
Mr. Schuman has seconded. Any additional discussion from the Planning Commission? All right, if not, Mr. Boswell, would you please do roll call vote on this?
Yes, sir. Mr. Pennington?
Aye.
Mr. Weaver?
Aye.
Mr. Anderson?
Aye.
Mr. Sproles?
Aye.
Mr. Wilson?
Aye.
Mr. Schuman? Mr. Austin?
Aye. All right, please show that that was unanimously approved by the Planning Commission. Next on our agenda tonight is a proposed amendment to the Town of Addington Comprehensive Plan, pursuant to Virginia Code Section 15.2-2229 of the Code of Virginia 1950 as amended. First of all, Mr. Boswell, would you please give us a brief review of what this entails?
Yes, sir. This is a complete update of the comprehensive plan. Mr. Todd Gordon from EPR, the consultant that has been revising the plan for us, has joined in on this conference, and he's here to answer any questions that you may have. But it is a total update of the comprehensive plan. The process started back in January of 19, so we're 20 months into the process, and everything is being finalized now. We've discussed this at several past meetings and several steering committee meetings. I will say that the state code requires that the comp plan be reviewed by VDOT, which we have done, and VDOT has given back their comments on it. So I would like to go over that with the chairman's permission to go over VDOT's comments.
Please do so. Let me, before you do that, let me open the public hearing for purposes of that. And if there's any member of the public that would like to make any comments, now would be the time to do that. And hearing none and understanding there are none present, I will declare that the public hearing is closed. And now, Mr. Boswell, if you'd be kind enough to go over VDOT's thoughts in regards to this, please.
Yes, thank you, Mr. Austin. So we sent the comp plan to Blake Ayler for review, and Mr. Ayler was gracious enough to, and he's very busy, but he was gracious enough to give us our comments back in a timely fashion to try to get this comp plan wrapped up. I know we've been working on it several months now. The first thing that Mr. Ayler had discussed was inserting some discussion of corridors of statewide significance. So Mr. Gordon had added that under page 26, which I'm trying to get to now. You'll see this section here, corridors of statewide significance. It was something that Mr. Ayler said needed to be added, part of the code. So we've added that. Under 26, page 26 and 27, we revised the table of functional classifications because we had missed a few. So we had added some arterials and minor arterials here that we had missed, and then some other collector roads. So we added that information per the request. Under page 31 and 32, we had proposed a connection from Mead Meadows to Berry Creek Drive, and that has been removed from the plan. We got several responses from the public survey, particularly from the people that live in that area, and they did not want to see that connection made, so it has been removed. It doesn't really affect us any because it was in the county anyway. It was just kind of a pipe dream. We've also updated our cost estimates for Thompson Roundabout, Cook Street Extension, and the 81 Frontage Road, and that is under page 32. As you can see here. Mr. Gordon added a map of projects proposed between pages 33 and 34 here. And I hope you all can see this clearly enough. He also updated the table of the 6-year improvement program, which is under page 34. Now, there is one that's missing under UPC 116171. It is the extended acceleration lane. I think that was proposed by VDOT. We still have not got that project cost, but we will before we take this to the town council. That's all the updates that we had from VDOT. I think VDOT was pretty happy with what we had submitted and the efforts that we put forth on this. And I would open it up to Mr. Gordon. I think Mr. Gordon had something that he would like to discuss from an email that he received from Mr. Ayler today.
Yes, thank you. Thank you. So this is Todd Gordon. I'm a senior planner at EPR in Charlottesville, Virginia, and we've been working on this plan for, as Jason says, 20 months. But we did make an effort to incorporate all of VDOT's comments, but having a couple of questions still lingering about that, I was able to meet with Blake Ayler, the district planner, this afternoon, briefly to ask him a couple of questions, and we solved a couple of issues. One was that missing project cost for the acceleration lane on I-81, so that we can get that into our table, and the answer to that turned out to be $1.6 million. So we'll insert that. The other thing that Mr. Ayler wanted to bring up was that the town would do well to draw some very careful ties between the transportation projects that are included in the tables on page 32 and 33. He would like to see maybe a better job done of tying those to the needs that are identified in the statewide transportation plan called the VTrans plan. And so what he suggested is that we add a third column to the tables that you see there on page 32, and the same on page 33, that would identify the specific needs that were being addressed by the projects suggested. And so the needs that are outlined in the VTrans document differ throughout the town, but I think big themes are increasing safety and decreasing congestion on Main Street, and similar issues for Cummings and Jonesboro, and to improve safety and reduce congestion on I-81. And so if we're able to make connections between these projects and those specific needs by adding a column to these tables and pointing those needs out, then the town will do itself better when it comes to applying for VDOT funding for some of these projects over the next several years. So I'd like to suggest that, and I apologize that this is such a late breaking change, but I would like to suggest we do add those columns to these tables on page 32 and 33 to specifically call out those statewide needs.
And Mr. Gordon, you said that was a fairly easy process when we spoke earlier. Is that correct?
Yes, in fact, since we spoke, I went ahead and drafted it. So it didn't take too long.
Thank you, sir.
All right. Are there any questions of Mr. Gordon from the Planning Commission?
This is Kenny again. Mr. Gordon, I submitted several comments, and I noted that you all revised based on my comments, and I just wanted to express my appreciation for your quick response and in doing that. I think I think you guys have done a great job on this plan, and I really personally like it quite a bit.
Thank you very much.
And Mr. Schuman also made a comment. I think there's one place that we need to incorporate the language of sports complex. Is that correct?
Yeah,
yeah. We can get that taken care of too.
Yeah, thank you for that. And again, thanks for listening to what I had to say. I appreciate it.
All right. Any other comments from the Planning Commission? All right. If not, I'm going to declare, if I have not already done so, that the public hearing is closed. And I'd be pleased to entertain any motions in regards to the approval of the comprehensive plan. I think that motion should either include or specifically exclude the amendments that have been suggested by Mr. Gordon that are not in the current form that we have. So if you'd like to have those included in this comprehensive plan, I would ask that be included in the motion, please.
I'd like to make a motion.
I'll go ahead.
I'd like to make the motion that we accept the plan as amended by Mr. Gordon under Virginia Code Section 15.2-2229.
All right. Thank you, Mr. Anderson. A second to that motion?
I'll second.
All right. That has been seconded. Is there any additional discussion from the Planning Commission? If not, Mr. Boswell, let's have a roll call vote on that, please.
Yes, sir. Mr. Pennington?
Aye.
Mr. Weaver?
Aye.
Mr. Anderson?
Aye.
Mr. Sproles?
Aye.
Mr. Wilson?
Aye.
Mr. Schuman?
Aye.
Mr. Austin?
Aye. All right. Please let the minutes reflect that was unanimously approved. Moving on in our agenda tonight, we have a number of items that include discussion, old business, matters which are not on the agenda, and announcements. I would like to suggest that, let me say I apologize to Mr. Weaver and Mr. Pennington as new members. We generally do not have as much difficulty as we have had tonight with either microphones or Chromebooks or computers or whatever, and I know that it can give you the appearance of a disjointed meeting, and for that I apologize to you. I would like to suggest that sometime between now and our next Planning Commission that we have a time when everyone can log on just as a test. I know we did it perhaps the first time we had an electronic meeting. It sounds to me like we probably need to have another test session if we could do that, Mr. Boswell.
Yes, sir. I can get that scheduled.
All right, thank you, thank you. All right, to the members of the Planning Commission, do you have any additional discussion, matters which are not on the agenda, or announcements you'd like to bring to the attention of the commission tonight? All right, hearing none, I would be pleased to entertain a motion to adjourn tonight's meeting.
So move.
All right, a second to that motion.
I'll second.
Thank you. All in favor say aye.
Aye.
And opposed. Again, thank you everyone for joining us tonight, and I hope next month will go a little bit more smoothly, and we will get together between now and then for a 5 or 10 minute test session just to make sure everyone can get on and everyone's microphones are working and everything. Thank you and have a good evening.
Thank you, gentlemen. Appreciate you. Well, when you kind of at the mercy of